What if I told you that 4 simple vegetables already in your kitchen could quietly repair your eyes while you sleep? Don't wait until vision loss takes away your freedom. Let me show you how. You might not believe this, but sometimes the simplest foods, the ones you already know and may even keep in your kitchen right now, can quietly support your eyesight in ways that feel almost magical. I've spent over 30 years working with seniors, and one of the struggles I see most often is vision loss. It doesn't arrive with a loud bang. It comes silently, slowly, stealing little pieces of independence, until one day you realize your world looks smaller, blurrier, harder to navigate. Think about the moments you may have already noticed. Driving at night and finding the glare unbearable. Looking at your grandchildren and realizing their little smiles are harder to make out. Straining to read a menu in dim light, or even your own handwriting. These aren't just annoyances. They touch the core of your freedom. They make you hesitant, sometimes embarrassed, and in the quiet hours of the night, maybe even a little scared. Does that sound familiar? Now here's the truth. This is not your fault. Your eyes age just like your joints, your skin, or your memory. That's the natural course of life. But aging does not mean powerless. And what I want to share with you today is proof of that. Because right on your dinner plate, hidden in everyday vegetables, there are nutrients that may help protect, nourish, and even repair your eyes as you sleep. I want to walk with you through 4 specific vegetables. They're not exotic. They don't come in shiny bottles or expensive powders. They're humble foods, but when prepared the right way, they can quietly become guardians of your vision. We'll start with one that everyone has heard about, but very few truly understand: carrots. You've been told since childhood that carrots are good for your eyes. Maybe you thought that was just an old saying, a little myth parents used to get kids to eat their vegetables. But the science is real, especially for aging eyes. Carrots are rich in beta-carotene, the pigment that gives them their bright orange color. Your body takes that pigment and turns it into vitamin A, a critical nutrient for your retina. Inside the retina lives a protein called rhodopsin. It sits in the rods, the part of your eye that handles vision in dim light. Without enough vitamin A, those rods can't regenerate properly. That's when you notice blurry night vision. That's when headlights look like blinding stars and street signs fade into the darkness. You may find yourself hesitating to drive at dusk, not because you don't want to, but because your eyes just can't adjust. Here's the part that surprises many people. Eating raw carrots won't give you the same benefit. Beta-carotene is fat-soluble, which means your body absorbs it best when it's paired with healthy fats. And it's locked inside the tough fibers of raw vegetables. Cooking carrots, gently roasting, steaming, or sautéing softens those fibers and breaks down the walls that trap the nutrients. Add a drizzle of olive oil, a pat of butter, or a spoon of ghee, and suddenly the beta-carotene is unlocked, absorbed, and ready to become vitamin A. Think of it like opening a safe. The nutrition is inside, but without the right key heat and fat, it stays locked away. And this isn't just theory. This is how your body works. When you prepare carrots this way, you're not just eating a side dish. You're feeding the very cells in your retina that let you see in the dark. Now, why eat them in the evening? Because your body does most of its cellular repair at night while you rest. The eyes are no longer flooded with light, no longer working overtime. It's the perfect window for vitamin A to support the rebuilding of those light-sensitive cells. Imagine sitting down to dinner with a plate of roasted carrots drizzled with olive oil. While you sleep, Your body quietly absorbs, converts, and delivers those nutrients where they're needed most. That's gentle, natural medicine in the truest sense. Let me tell you about Harold, a gentleman I worked with years ago. He was 72, a proud grandfather, and a retired mail carrier. He came to me with a look of frustration and sadness. "Doc," he said, "I can't see house numbers at night anymore. I miss knowing where I'm going." For a man who had spent decades walking his community, that loss was more than eyesight. It was identity. We didn't do anything dramatic. I simply asked him to add roasted carrots to his dinner 3 nights a week. Not plain raw sticks, but gently roasted in olive oil, sprinkled with sea salt. Nothing fancy. After 6 weeks, Harold came back with a smile I'll never forget. "I drove to my daughter's for dinner," he said, "and I didn't need to squint. The street signs were clear. It felt like someone cleaned the windshield in my head." That moment wasn't just about carrots. It was about giving a man back a piece of his independence, his confidence, his freedom. That's the power of nourishment. Real food, real function, real results that show up in everyday life. So the next time you look at a carrot, don't just see a vegetable, see a tool. A tool that may sharpen your night vision, ease the glare, and give you the courage to drive confidently again. Carrots may seem ordinary, but they hold extraordinary power when used wisely. And remember, this isn't about a miracle cure. It's about gentle support. Each serving is like one more step toward clarity. Now here's the key takeaway from this first part. Cooked carrots paired with a healthy fat can supply vitamin A that supports rhodopsin production, the protein your eyes need for night vision. Eating them in the evening lines up perfectly with your body's repair cycle, and even a few servings each week may bring small but meaningful improvements. So, when you sit down to dinner, think about adding this simple ally to your plate. Because sometimes the smallest change, a handful of carrots cooked just right, can bring the biggest relief. And while carrots help you see in the dark, they're just the beginning of the story. Because protecting your eyes isn't only about sharpening vision, it's also about protecting those delicate tissues from the silent enemy that works inside every aging eye inflammation. And that's where our next vegetable comes in. If carrots are the heroes of night vision, then broccoli is the quiet guardian standing at the gate of your eyes, defending them from invisible harm. The harm I'm talking about is inflammation. Most people think of inflammation as swelling in a joint or redness on the skin, but inside your eyes, inflammation can be far more dangerous because you don't see it and you don't feel it, at least not at first. Here's what happens. Over time, tiny blood vessels in the eye become irritated. Retinal cells weaken. Microscopic damage builds quietly, and before you know it, your vision feels blurred, distorted, or dull. You may notice wavy lines in a book, or black spots floating across the center of your sight. This is the slow march toward macular degeneration, one of the most common causes of vision loss in seniors. Now here's the hopeful part. Broccoli contains a unique combination of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds that target exactly this problem. Its dark green florets are rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 pigments that your body sends directly to the macula. The macula is the central part of your retina, the tiny but powerful spot that allows you to read, recognize faces, and focus on fine detail. Think of it like the lens of a camera. When the lens is scratched or clouded, every picture comes out blurry. That's what happens in your eye when the macula breaks down. But lutein and zeaxanthin act like a pair of internal sunglasses. They shield your macula from the constant barrage of light, stress, and unstable molecules called free radicals that speed up damage. These nutrients don't just protect. They may also help repair weakened retinal tissue, slowing the decline that so many older adults believe is inevitable. There's one catch. Just like with carrots, the way you prepare broccoli determines how much of this benefit your body actually gets. Raw broccoli, while nutritious, has fibers that trap these pigments. Your digestive system simply can't break them down fully. But when you lightly steam broccoli, just until it's tender, those fibers relax, and the nutrients are released. Add a touch of olive oil or even a sprinkle of shredded cheese, and suddenly the lutein and zeaxanthin are free to hitch a ride into your bloodstream. So picture this. A small side of steamed broccoli at dinner, glistening with a drizzle of olive oil. Not only is it gentle on your digestion, but it's also feeding your eyes directly. You're giving your macula the very compounds it needs to stay strong, clear, and resilient. Let me share a story. Gloria, one of my patients, used to love reading. She had shelves of novels and biographies in her living room. But she came to me one afternoon with tears in her eyes. "Doctor," she said, "the words are floating. I can't read more than a page without squinting." We didn't reach for supplements or prescriptions. Instead, I asked her to add half a cup of lightly steamed broccoli to her dinner, 3 times a week. That was it. One small change. A month later, she walked into my office smiling. She wasn't back to reading novels cover to cover, but she no longer needed to squint to read her mail. That small improvement gave her back a piece of herself, a joy she thought was gone. That's the beauty of broccoli. It doesn't make grand promises. It simply gives your eyes what they need, quietly, consistently. And those little improvements, letters that don't blur, faces that look sharper, bring enormous relief. Here's the truth I want you to remember. Inflammation is one of the greatest threats to your vision, and broccoli is one of the most powerful natural defenses you can put on your plate. Lightly cooked with a bit of healthy fat, it delivers lutein and zeaxanthin right to your macula, where they can protect and support your sight. So the next time you wonder if adding broccoli is worth the effort, think about this. Each small serving may be slowing the clock on macular degeneration. Each bite is like laying another stone on the wall of defense around your eyes. Now, if carrots sharpen your night vision and broccoli shields your macula, then the next vegetable takes that defense to an even higher level. In fact, it may be the strongest food ally we know against irreversible vision loss. It's a leafy green that doesn't look like much, but delivers extraordinary protection. Kale. Among all the vegetables that protect eyesight, kale quietly stands as one of the most powerful. At first glance, it doesn't look like much, just another dark, leafy green with tough, curly leaves. But inside those leaves lies a treasure chest of nutrients that directly support your vision, especially against one of the greatest threats to senior eyes, age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. AMD isn't just blurry vision. It's the slow breakdown of the macula, the very center of your retina, responsible for sharp and focused sight. When the macula deteriorates, the world itself begins to change. Words on a page swim and bend. Faces lose detail. Even pouring a glass of water becomes tricky because you can't quite judge where the rim is. For many, it feels like the world is fading away. But here's where kale comes in. Kale is one of the richest natural sources of lutein and zeaxanthin, the exact pigments found in your macula. These pigments act as built-in shields, absorbing harmful blue light and neutralizing oxidative stress before it can damage your retinal cells. Think of them as your body's natural sunglasses, filtering the harsh rays and preserving the delicate tissues inside your eyes. Now, here's the part many people don't realize. Your body cannot make lutein or zeaxanthin on its own. The only way to get them is through food, and kale delivers them in abundance more concentrated than almost any other vegetable. But the secret is in preparation. Raw kale is nutritious, yes, but it also contains compounds that block mineral absorption and irritate the stomach if eaten too often. That's why gently steaming or sautéing kale is so important. Cooking softens those dense leaves, making the nutrients more available and easier to absorb. It also helps preserve kale's vitamin C and vitamin K content, both of which support healthy circulation to your eyes and keep the tiny capillaries in your retina strong. I once worked with Marie, a retired librarian who was 79. She had already lost partial central vision in one eye, and her greatest fear was that it would spread. "Doctor," she said, "what if I wake up one morning and can't see my family clearly anymore?" The fear in her voice was real, and I knew we needed to give her both physical support and emotional reassurance. So we started simple. Just a quarter cup of lightly steamed kale, 3 or 4 times a week, a drizzle of olive oil, a squeeze of lemon to soften the bitterness. Within months, she noticed that while her damaged eye didn't improve, the progression slowed. More importantly, she felt empowered. She was no longer passively watching her eyesight slip away. She was actively protecting what remained. That's an important lesson. Healing isn't always about reversing what's been lost. Sometimes it's about holding on tightly to what you still have and strengthening it. For Marie, kale became more than food. It became a symbol of control, a quiet act of self-care that helped her face each day with courage. So here's what I want you to remember about kale. It's one of the most concentrated sources of eye-protecting nutrients, especially lutein and zeaxanthin. Cook it gently, pair it with a little healthy fat, and you give your macula the exact pigments it craves. Even if you can't reverse vision loss, you can slow it, protect against further damage, and give yourself the gift of confidence. Now, if carrots sharpen night vision, and broccoli shields against inflammation, and kale defends against macular degeneration, what comes next? A vegetable so soft and mild that many people dismiss it as filler. Yet inside it lies hydration, antioxidants, and trace minerals that soothe tired, dry eyes and protect delicate retinal tissue. That vegetable is zucchini. Zucchini is often overlooked. It sits quietly in the grocery aisle, soft, pale green, mild in taste, and often treated as nothing more than a filler in stir-fries or casseroles. But for aging eyes, zucchini carries a kind of gentle power that is easy to miss. And for seniors struggling with dry eyes, irritation, or fragile retinal tissue, it may be one of the most comforting vegetables you can choose. Why is that? Because zucchini is made of more than 90% water. As we age, our bodies lose moisture more easily, and our eyes are often the first to feel the effect. Tear production declines, tissues grow dry, and the delicate structures behind the eye, the retina, the macula, and even the optic nerve become more vulnerable. That dryness may show up as burning, stinging, or a constant urge to rub your eyes. It can even make falling asleep harder. Now here's where zucchini steps in. Every tender bite delivers hydration directly to your body, but it doesn't stop there. Zucchini also carries vitamin C, an antioxidant that helps protect eye tissues from light damage and aging stress. Vitamin C supports the collagen framework of your eyes, keeping the cornea and blood vessels strong. Alongside vitamin C, zucchini contains manganese, a trace mineral that activates enzymes inside the retina. These enzymes process light and neutralize free radicals before they can damage fragile eye tissue. While it doesn't boast the same concentration of lutein as kale or broccoli, zucchini's gentleness makes it unique. It is soft, neutral in flavor, and very easy to digest, even for seniors with sensitive stomachs or low appetite. That makes it an ideal evening food, something that nourishes without weighing you down, just before your body enters its nightly repair cycle. Let me share the story of Tom, an 81-year-old patient who had struggled for years with gritty, dry eyes that stung at night. Eye drops helped, but only for a few hours. The irritation always returned. We added zucchini to his dinner 4 nights a week. Not raw, not heavy with sauces, just softly sautéed in olive oil with garlic and a pinch of salt. Within weeks, he noticed something small but powerful. "Doctor," he told me, "I can finally close my eyes at night without them stinging." His sleep improved, his eyes felt calmer, and for him, that meant real relief. That's the lesson zucchini teaches us. Support doesn't always have to be bold or dramatic. Sometimes the softest, mildest foods offer the strongest comfort. So now, we've explored carrots for night vision, broccoli for inflammation, kale for macular defense, and zucchini for hydration and gentle support. But here's where things get truly powerful when you bring them together. Imagine this: a simple, warm dish prepared in the evening, combining all 4 vegetables into one soothing bowl that nourishes your eyes while you sleep. Here's how I've shared it with patients over the years. Start with a small pot and a spoon of olive oil. Add half a chopped zucchini and let it soften. Then add half a chopped carrot, cooking until it begins to release its sweetness. Next, toss in a handful of broccoli florets and a 1/4 cup of chopped kale. Add just a splash of water or low-sodium broth. Cover the pot and let it steam gently for about 5 minutes. When the greens turn vibrant and tender, season lightly with sea salt. If you like, finish with a squeeze of lemon or a pinch of turmeric for extra anti-inflammatory support. What you have now is not just dinner, it's a ritual of care. A bowl filled with warmth, softness, and nutrients perfectly timed for your body's repair cycle. It's easy to chew, easy to digest, and packed with exactly the compounds your eyes crave. Some of my patients enjoy it as a chunky vegetable medley. Others blend it into a smooth, creamy soup and sip it before bed. However you choose, the key is consistency. 3 to 4 nights a week is enough to give your eyes a steady flow of support. Think of it as tucking your eyes in for the night. You're giving them the tools they need to restore themselves, to resist damage, and to keep serving you day after day. No pills, no gimmicks, just food in its most healing form. Now, as we close, let me share one final truth. Aging does take things from us. Colors fade, lights glare, words blur, and the world feels less sharp than it once did. But the story doesn't have to end there. Even in your 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond, your cells still respond to care. Your eyes are still listening. The food you choose tonight can either speed up, decline, or support a quiet comeback. Carrots for night vision, broccoli for inflammation, kale for macular strength, zucchini for hydration and calm. 4 humble vegetables, gently cooked, chosen with intention, can become 4 allies walking beside you every evening. This is not a burden. It's not a prescription. It's a small act of love for your eyes, love for your independence, Love for the life you still want to see clearly. So here's my encouragement to you. If you've noticed your vision slipping, don't give up. Don't believe that nothing can be done. Healing doesn't always mean reversing loss. Sometimes it means protecting what remains, holding on to clarity, holding on to connection, and doing it one small, consistent act at a time. If this message spoke to you, if it gave you even a spark of hope, I ask you to take one more step. Try one of these vegetables at dinner this week. Notice how your body feels, and then share your experience. Because your story may be the light that encourages someone else not to give up. Thank you for caring about yourself enough to stay with me until now. Thank you for valuing your health, your vision, and your future. Remember, your comeback doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be steady, kind, and intentional, one meal, one evening, one bite at a time.